Yo guys, I'm Yellow, a Norwegian hardcore PC gamer, and yeah, that is the shortened long version of the old intro. And with that being said, whatever, who cares? Let's go on with day 3 predictions, in which, yeah, it's gonna get interesting. And the reason for this is because a lot of crazy stuff happened. For example, Luminosity were able to actually show and prove to all of us that they had serious firepower beneath their wings, even though, again, that is kind of something that we've been alluding to in the past a couple of times as well, but I guess this just completely proves that and verify that absolutely, which is kind of interesting, because this puts Fnatic in a pickle. Navi, that is for later, alright? It puts them in a pickle against Cloud9, because Cloud9 still got the pressure up, in which Vext actually pushed them to a serious limit as well, in which Vext was able to do the same against Fnatic earlier on, but them now being out, which you can't really do anything about that. And by the way, I learned that they're Polish, so there's that. I'm terrible with countries and names and such. Point though is that while this match is probably going to be pretty crazy, it's looking good for Fnatic, and even more so, I'm going to assume that that is going to be best of 3. If it's not, that's going to kind of suck, but yeah, we'll take what we get. But regardless, any kind of sample of performance with any teams, if it's best of 3, it's always going to be better, because, you know, that way you learn exactly how strong different teams are on maps and where their skill level is properly at. And with that being said, it's kind of annoying to predict this kind of bracket, but this was at least the best kind of stuff that I came up with, in which it legitimately is looking a little bit better for NiP right now. And the reason for that is because they were absolutely horrendous on half of Cobblestone, essentially, in which on the other side, they were way better. So whether or not that is a complete sign of some kind of mental block or not, whether or not that is the case, one thing is for sure, and that is that whether or not it's going to be best of 3, either they're going to adapt hardcore and be able to actually face Titan that wrecked them earlier on, or they're going to skip nuke, Cobble completely. We don't have nuke, sadly, right now, which is kind of lame, because it's a decent map. But yeah, they might entirely, completely just skip Cobble, and there you go. It's gonna now be a clear slate, in which Titan's roster, which still should not be as consistent, I guess, because NiP is not actually completely terrible, as long as they actually try and play the game to win and stuff. Yeah, not looking completely terrible for NiP either. But to me, though, it feels pretty 50-50, so I don't know really what to say. Yeah, just where I'm landing with that. As for G2 Esports and Mousesports, sadly it's not looking too good for Mousesports, even though, again, as I've alluded to, whether or not they're going to play on Cobblestone again, or whatever the hell they played, I honestly don't remember, which is why I'm going to check. They played on Inferno, there we go. I actually remember that before I was going to check it, right after I openly asked that question to myself. But yeah, point though is that it's looking good for G2, not because of any other reason other than that if they can toy around with their food that much, yeah, probably looking good at least for this battle, but regardless if they're going to get further out or not, like, it's not looking good for either of these teams, essentially. A little bit like Luminosity, because they still lack a little bit of experience, even though they have clearly shown us that the little experience they have is fucking insane. It's explosive as hell. So yeah, it was one hell of a day 2. So yeah, landing on G2 right here. Yeah, not too much more to say other than that they actually kind of sort of got wrecked by TSM, so I don't really know what to put off of that. Kind of scales these two teams' power level down a little bit, for contrast, if you get my point. Anyways, yeah, Navi versus CLG at the very end right here. They already fought once before. Was it that on Cobble or not? Let's see right here. Yeah, it was in Cobblestone, and yeah, it's actually kind of cool to take a little look here at the density of the kills depending on sides as well. As you can see, Haste were not playing his T side too well, in which he at least had some more success here, in which if you then go over to the Navi, the Victory side, their performance were a little bit more consistent overall. So by that form in general, I'm actually going to just take a side with Navi, and there's not too much more to it other than that it kind of sort of then comes down to which maps are going to be played and how hot on their heels these teams are going to be, especially because of how Navi lost against Envious, which we can take a look at that performance as well before we are more or less done right here. So that's a 69, which were like slightly predicted, I guess. Kind of lame, you know. Navi had some insane plays, but you can't really do anything when you're against Envious, in which yeah, their counterpart, which is gonna be CLG. They were playing against Dignitas, which is not like a supremely high tier team anyways, which already were facing Envious and they got wrecked. So as you can then see here, yeah, that was kind of wreckage. Not really anything you can scale too highly of their power level in that contrast to that respect. But anyways, hopefully you people enjoy this vague little prediction. Those are my stickers. The next day coming, depending on how well the teams perform, that is what I'm essentially in a basic scenario going to, you know, place my stickers on about with. So it's not really rocket science, but even though, again, hopefully we'll get best of threes. I don't even know. I have not researched it. I don't remember, and I don't care until I get to see the matches. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, all links below. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, have a nice day, guys, and don't get beastified when you watch them play.